By the turn of the millennium, skateboarding had become one of the most popular things in mainstream pop culture, thanks to the X Games and really, Tony Hawk and Neversoft. Now, if you're watching this video, there's no way you have not heard of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. The first title released back in 1999 with the sequel coming out in 2000. Now, fast forward to 2007. By this point, there have been 8 mainline THPS games. Skateboarding had more exposure thanks to MTV, with shows like Viva La Bam and, most important to this video later, Rob and Big. Now, in September of 2007, EA Black Box released the critically acclaimed and revolutionary EA Skate. Judging by this video uploaded by Ledris, hope I pronounced that right, development for Skate began roughly in December of 2005. Now, before any levels or characters had been made, the Flick-It system was the very first thing developed. The Flick-It system was revolutionary in a lot of ways because at the time prior to Skate coming out, most games, including THPS, just used simple buttons for tricks. With the flicking controls, using the right stick, it gave Skate some new credibility, with it having, and at the time anyway, close to realistic feel. As the development went on for Skate, it would get a big boost in advertising when the game was shown off on MTV's Rob and Big. Season 1, Episode 3 saw the two travel to Vancouver to get scanned and mocap the game. Even Rob is seen playing a clear beta version as this episode aired an entire year before the game would launch. The soundtrack would actually get a big overhaul during development, as originally it was set to have songs by bands like The Doors, but it ended up becoming more of 80s and 90s hard rock and by modern 2007 hip-hop, with some great songs on the soundtrack like Gangstar's Now You're Mine, NWA's Express Yourself, Dead Presidents Hip Hop, Motorhead's We Are Motorhead, Fly Society's Drama, and my favorite track in the game, Hustlin' by Rick Ross. Now, by August of 2007, there was a demo that was supposed to come out, but it ended up getting delayed until the 21st of August. Now, the demo can no longer be played, obviously, unless you installed it back in 2007, but I'm just going to assume it was received well. Then we get to the crucial date of September 14th, 2007. Skate releases on the 360 first, and the PlayStation port got delayed until the 24th. I played the Xbox version for this review due to it being backwards compatible. Now, even though I glaze the PS3 like crazy on this channel, I'm actually going to recommend the 360 version. Even without backwards compatibility, it just runs better and there's fewer bugs, so if you can get it, get the Xbox version. As stated previously, Skate was the debut of the Flick-It controls. It wasn't fully marketed as a realistic game, but at the time, this was as close to a realistic skateboarding game as we had. Now, today we have games like Session or Skate XL that are ultra sims, ultra realistic, but Skate does still allow you to play it like it is a video game. You can do backflips and go do a 900 Christ air, and then go 360 flip a 10 stair. I like to play as realistic as possible in these games, but some challenges do make you go crazy with the objectives. The game doesn't just have a focus on street skating, it also has a focus on vert and even mega skating. The map is also a bright spot for this game. San Vanalona is a combination of San Francisco, Vancouver, and Barcelona, with a lot of great spots thrown in, like some being literal spots in real life like Hubba Hideout. Now, in terms of Skate's game modes, we have Party Play and Free Skate. Party Play is where you select up to 4 players and go back and forth between spot battles or games of Skate. You can play by yourself or pass the controller back and forth with a friend. I'm lonely as shit, so guess what I did? Free Skate is exactly what it sounds like, just skate freely around the map without having to worry about missions, and you can play as the Pro Skaters. The Pro Skater list is actually really good here, with most if not all of them never being in a Tony Hawk game. Guys like Chris Cole, Colin McKay, and Rob Dyrdek all make their video game debuts here. I wish I could actually talk about some of the online in this game, but it was shut down back in 2011, and I don't know anybody with a first-hand account of it. Some of the only footage I could find that was clear enough was from IGN. It seems to just be Own the Spot online. But if you played Skate 1 online, let me know down in the comments some stories if you have any. During my research, I wasn't able to find anything like noteworthy with cut content. All I could find with cut content was the ability to play as a female skater. The only evidence left over of this is one of the fictional skaters, Sammy, she's the only female character in the game. And also getting off your board. This game does not allow you to walk, sadly, but it does show up in the sequel, so that's always cool. I think that Skate does hold up well in 2025. Now, it does have some jank to it, but not enough to where I think it's a problem. I think it's still one of the best skateboarding games of that era, if not the best. Now, remember how I told you this game came out in 2007, right? Well, for the first time in a while, The THPS series had a real competitor. Sure, there were games like X Games Skateboarding and MTV Skateboarding, but they were never really on the level of Tony Hawk. But this was the first time where there was a true serious competitor. Tony Hawk's Proving Ground, which, fun fact, is actually my favorite Tony Hawk game, released the month after Skate in October. And despite it being my favorite THPS title, it's not that amazing, but let me know if I should review the game one day. Now, THPG sold 1 million copies, and I can't find any rough sales number for Skate 1, but it did get more favorable review scores with IGN, giving Xbox version a 9. Now that we've talked about some of the game modes and the gameplay, let's speak on the game's story. Well, after a really great intro where our character literally gets run over by a bus, we're introduced to the game's filmer and narrator, Retta, who is actually later voiced and later modeled after Giovanni Retta, who was actually a real person and was a big figure in skateboarding at the time. The story is your typical skater rises up, he gets sponsored, and becomes famous deal. And I'm not trying to say that in a negative way, it's actually a very good story, and some of the challenges you will encounter in the story mode are annoying to really good, actually. We have the film challenges. These are set goals you have to achieve, like grind a 40-foot rail or do a 900. The challenge is different for each magazine. The Skateboard mag is more street-focused, while Thrasher has you skate in those skate zones and do death races. Now let's talk about the death races. I hate them. I really do. I believe they're terrible, and there's just too much that can cost you a race that is not your fault. I'm not a fan of these, and sadly in Skate 1, you need to do at least 3 to complete all magazine photos. There are pro challenges, where a pro will ask you to do a certain trick or hit a certain spot. Now, I would be remiss if I did not mention the infamous Rob and Big challenge. See, the objective is to do a 360 flip crooked grind, or the knack if you've seen the movie Street Dreams. But for some reason, people struggle with this challenge, me included. Now, as I got older, I actually learned how to do 360 flips consistently on the skate games, and I can usually do this challenge consistently. I wasn't able to get it first try on this playthrough, but I'm happy I can get it now. But real quick though, I've mentioned him a few times in this video, but can we please raise a cup, or whatever you're drinking right now, can we just raise a glass real quick to Christopher Big Black Boykin? Rest in peace, big guy. Unique to Skate 1 is that when you start a pro challenges, they will have this dope montage of tricks, and it informs you of all the sponsorships they have. I don't know why this never came back, but I think that's something that makes Skate 1 unique. We also have the contests, which are exactly what they say, 2 to 3 round contests where you need to get the highest score at the end of each round. And the follow challenges, which become a bit of a nuisance in the later games. They're not bad here, but like in Skate 2 and 3, there's like a lot of follow challenges that are not terrible, but I would rather just, have pro challenges like this. What's cool about this game too is that there's like a very small amount of cutscenes, but the cutscenes that are there have this really cool art style where it's like paper mache cutout, I guess you would call it, and it's a very artistic style that I think is pretty good actually. Now, at the end of the game, after getting both the covers of the magazines, you become the Skater of the Year and get invited to the X Games. Now, the X Games Mega Contest is kind of a mixed bag, because in this game specifically, the spin direction is weird. Like, sometimes it will automatically add another spin, and it's not stick drift on my Xbox controller, it happens on the PS3 as well. So, that can get away with the contest, but the street contest is really fun actually, and I love the court design. Finally, after completing everything else, Danny Way will call you to have a contest at his famous Mega Park, and beating that concludes the story.
Dude, that was an ill sesh, man. You shined. You know what, dude? You've come a long way. You went from, like, near death to skateboarding icon. You know how many people could say they've done that? Not a lot. Man, you've had covers of magazines, you've completed challenges, you've done everything you needed to do to get to this point. That's pretty amazing. But you know what the more amazing thing is? We could just go skate, man. Skating never ends. Roll forever, baby. Peace, one love, I'm out.
Skate 1 is one of the most revolutionary games ever. It completely changed the way that skateboarding games were designed forever, honestly. I've already reviewed Skate 3 and have yet to do 2, but until then, go watch some of my other reviews and maybe even go watch the Skate 3 video, but honestly, you should go back and play Skate 1. I'll see you in the next video.